Welcome to Vintage Gaming Memories. Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So let me show you what I've got here. First, let me just set this up. So I have like 4 categories for my collection that I showcase on this channel. There's the Everything Atari, the vintage handheld games, the vintage bar lights and accessories, and the last category is vintage TVs and boomboxes. So what we have here is a circa 1986 Realistic Portavision black and white TV with an AM and FM stereo cassette recorder. Now this is model number 16-109, and I only say circa 1986 because when I look at the 1986 Radio Shack catalog, I don't see this in there, but I do see it in a 1987 catalog. So maybe this came out after the 1986 catalog was published. But if someone knows different, let me know in the comments. Kind of curious about that. So let's see what we have here with this portable entertainment system. So this thing measures 19 3/4 wide by 6 and, I'd say 6 and, well, without the handle, 6.5 tall, and about 6 inches deep. It's very boxy looking, but that's okay. So let's check this out from the front view first. We have, obviously here we have the speakers. You have 2 of them on each side. We have these dual 2-way speakers. And then there's the cassette recorder on the left side. And with this cassette recorder, the cassette player, we actually have a tape counter, which is a little nice feature. And you can actually record with this cassette recorder from the radio, also from the television, and of course anything within the area of the system, because it does have a built-in mic, which is right here. And also within this area where the mic is, you can see that there are other display indicators, such as the FM stereo LED light, which would be right there when lit. There's also an audio level meter. And then there is the FM and AM frequencies that you can tune into here while the stations. And then to the right of that are the television frequencies for the channels with UHF and VHF. Speaking of the television, on the right side is the 4.5-inch black and white television. And then below that you have a slider here. This is the toggle between VHF and UHF frequencies. And let's check the top now. So starting from the left here, we have a push-down button for the power switch. Well, that was interesting. Might be just a little bit of juice left over. Hopefully there's no batteries in here, but we'll check that in a second. And then to the right of that, you have your function switch to toggle between radio, tape, or TV. And then you have your radio band selector from FM or AM. And then you have your mode selection here. You can go mono, stereo, or wide. Then they have these pretty cool, or I guess you could say kind of slick looking sliders here for your tone, your balance, and then the volume. And then directly below that are your tuning knobs, one for the radio and then one for the TV. Also, there's this nice handle here that's pretty sturdy for portability purposes. And there's also a, let's see if this is in good condition here, a nice telescoping antenna. And it does look to be in good condition. It's not bent, and it does open up all the way. Now let's check out the back side. So let me just turn this around. And we get a good look to see what we have here. Just by lifting it, I don't believe there's batteries in there, so I'm going to open that up first. It was too light to have batteries. And check that out. Pretty cool looking, huh? Or interesting looking. It holds 10 D-sized batteries. And it has this nice little, I guess, plastic compartment you can put them in so they don't pop out and go everywhere, at least for the top level. So that is pretty crazy. You have 4 and 4 and then 2 below. That is nuts. Pretty expensive for sure. So let's check out what else you see in the back here. We have options here for an external antenna. You got connections for your UHF and then the VHF with the screws. You can switch between the rod antenna or the external antenna. And of course, the rod antenna would be this. You have your power selection options here. You have AC adapter plugins or the DC plugin. And then we have some screen adjustments here. We have contrast, brightness, and the vertical hold, obviously for the television. And then some information here from the back. Don't see a year on this indicated back here either. But the battery compartment does look good, I should say. I didn't really get another, let me see, let's get another look at this. I don't see any corrosion or leakage that might have occurred before. It looks really good. So that is a positive thing. Now, oh wait, look, there is a date. Check this out. July 1986. So we are going to say this is not circa 1986. It is 1986. So that's good to see. What else can we look at? Let's take a look at the side here. There's a couple other options. On the right side, from looking at the front, there's nothing. But on the left side, we do have some options. Let's see if I can get a good view here without losing focus. So we have a few options here. There are a few jacks here. These are 1/8 inch jacks. There's a jack for your phones, which is your headphones. This is a stereo headphone jack. And there's 2 1/8 inch jacks here for your left and right mics. And then we have this switch on top. You can select from 1 or 2 beats. It's a beat cut switch. So basically what that does is that if you like to hear your music with a faster beat, you would just select 2. And then the beat will actually be faster. It goes twice as fast. And if you just want to hear it at a regular speed, just put it at 1. All right, I'm kidding. I hope you didn't believe that. So this is not what that's for. I've seen this before with my other vintage boombox, and it's actually associated with recording on AM stations. Sometimes you may get some whistling sounds or howling noises when you're tuning in to an AM station as you're recording. And to avoid that whistling sound, which is really interference with the frequency, you would use this beat switch. You would cut it out because it eliminates it from being recorded. So that's what that's for. Not that I'll be recording anything on AM, or I never really did back in the day either. Let's check out the bottom and see. There's one more thing to look at. There's this little stand. Or actually, it's more not really a stand, but it kind of puts it up into a more secure position, I guess, on an angle, basically for TV viewing. So we open that up like that, and now we position it down, and it brings it up to a little bit of an angle. That angle is great for like watching television, perhaps with some glare coming in. You can avoid it by adjusting it upward instead of having to put books or something down there. So that's kind of nice. And that props it up about 1 inch. This really needs a cleaning because as I'm moving it around, there's like junk everywhere coming apart, just like dust and whatever. But there's one more thing I want to show you before I go ahead and clean this whole thing up and shine it up a bit. It is the power cord or the adapter that came with it. This is actually the original Radio Shack one, 12 volt. But check this out. You can hear that rattling noise. I am definitely not using this. And actually it's coming. That's really, I would be crazy to use that. Yeah, it comes apart. But I guess it's kind of cool to see. I'm going to just probably use batteries to test this. And I think I do have another adapter I can use if I wanted to, but really I'm just going to try to test this thing out with some fresh 10 D-size batteries, and at least that way it will give me a peace of mind that this thing does work. So what's next? Well, let's go and clean this thing up, because it did say in the actual listing that this was in working condition. In a few seconds, you'll see the end results of my cleaning. I'll give you a before and after in just a matter of a couple seconds. All right, check this out. It took me 4 hours to fully clean this, and I didn't even open up for the inside of it. All I did was exterior cleaning, and the 4 hours, well, let me just say this. It looked like this might have been inside of a mechanic's workshop, because there was a lot of grime and oily gunk and grease that was on here. It definitely wasn't tobacco. I know how that looks when you wipe it off. It just strictly was just heavy-duty grease and grime. But it did come off eventually. And I didn't notice anything that would cause concern for it to be inside the actual system, which it might be a little bit here and there. I mean, of course, there is the opening for the cassette deck here, or the tape where you insert it. You can get a lot of dust and other debris inside there. However, I also cleaned the heads on the cassette, and those are pretty clean. So I'm kind of confident that the insides are probably pretty good. I was able to see one of the belts inside the cassette player, and it looked to be intact, so I don't know if that's going to work or not. It turned out pretty good. I'm happy with the way it looked. Let's just take a close examination of the actual box. I'll show you the highlights so you can see the nice reflection and the way it turned out, the before and after. I'll show you in a second. Now even the back side came out pretty good. It was pretty good to start with, but now it's nice and polished. The battery compartment was already clean, but we'll open that up to go ahead and insert those 10 D-size batteries. The other thing I did clean in this was the actual AC, or the power cord, that is. And that was this Radio Shack one, which I am not going to use. And look at this. I mean, this thing is going to come right out. But anyways, who knows? I'll just throw that away probably. We're going to go forward with this, and I think what I'll do now is just put those batteries in, and we're going to go and test the radio first, and then we'll test the tape, and then finally we'll try the television. So let's get those batteries in first. All right, I loaded the batteries up in this little case that comes with it, which is pretty smart to have it. I mean, it's going to keep it all intact, and it's nice and heavy, actually. But again, you don't have to worry about this popping up or just falling out of the actual battery compartment. Then the lower level will just have 2 D-size batteries. And you use this little strap to make it easier to come out when you're ready to eject it. That's how that goes. This little tab here makes it easier to pull that out when you're ready to remove the batteries. All right, well, the batteries are in. The rod is for antenna, which we're going to use first for the radio. Let's see if we get any reception down here. I'm going to angle this so you can at least see the front. Let's actually put the antenna up. Don't know if it's going to make a difference. Can't hurt. Okay. Volume should be down. And it is. We'll have it on radio. Actually, I'll leave it on tape. I'll power it on while it's on the tape function. Then I'll switch it over to radio. Let's go ahead and press the power button. That's a good sign. We do have an indicator on the audio level meter. All right, let's go to radio. And we'll put the volume up a little bit. Sounds good. This is the tuner for the radio. So we got some station tuned in. That's great. For copyright reasons, I'll lower it, but you can see the audio level meter is working. Let's do the tone. Tone sounds great. And let's try AM, which I'm sure it's going to work as well, but let's just get a station tuned in.
Just plain fun. As a motorcycle owner.
So that's great as well. Well, that seems to be a successful test of the radio. We have radio stations tuned in on AM and FM. We have the meter. Looks like it works fine. Let's check out the FM stereo. I didn't know if I saw the LED lit up for that one when I was on FM. So let's go back to FM. And let me just try to tune in a station again. And I am on stereo for the mode. Yep, there we go. So that's great. The lights all seem to work. There's no backlit lighting here for the actual stations, so that's how it should look. And I think that's pretty much it. Well, you know what? We could change the mode here. We'll go to wide or actual mono to see the difference in sound.
Register now at
Let's see. Let me try to get some music on and change the mode. So if I go, yeah, mono, stereo, wide. Wide does sound a lot louder. It sounds more spacious as far as the speakers go. So that seems to all work. All three modes sound great. We can also test that on the cassette. All right, we'll now switch to tape. And what I'm going to do for that is we're going to use this cassette I've used before. This is a demonstration cassette that's from 1985 with my Atari computer back then. So I'm going to rewind it first, and let's see if the rewind button works or not. So we are on tape. I'm going to press rewind. That looks good. Let's just stop it right about there. And we'll press play. Volume up.
With a different identifying index number for each word. I can name and save a word vocabulary on
Sounds
disk.
good.
When you play this back in some program that you can easily write, you don't even need the Voice Master or other hardware for the Commodore.
The mode also works on this as well. I'm on wide,
low-cost plug-in music card is required,
stereo,
but this is only for playback.
and mono.
Let me read in some numbers. This demonstration is for real. I am doing it as you listen.
Okay, let's do fast forward to make sure it works both directions, and it does. That works great. I know I'm going through this pretty quick because really I want to see this television to make sure that works. The cassette works fine. Last but not least, we're going to check out the television. So I will try to prep everything here for that, meaning that I'm going to need to connect an external antenna. The game selector switch is what I'm going to use. Plug that in with the Atari 800, and I'll put a game in there to see if it works. But before all that, let's just turn it on actually and see if we get some image from the screen. Let's change over to TV. It's still on. Now let's see if anything comes out of this display. Nothing yet. Oh, there we go. That looks great. Well, yeah, it looks great that we see something, right? This is the tuning knob for the television. And of course, we're not going to get anything without an antenna connected. So we're going to switch over to VHF low. That was high. And that's UHF. I think we're ready to go with the connection to the Atari. So let's go and turn this off. And I'll be right back as I hook up all the necessary cables and have a game ready to go. All right, so I'm all set up and ready to go. I am going to be using this old switch box which is in great condition actually. I'm going to be plugging in the computer right here to the back of the Atari 800XL, which is over there. And as you can see, inserted is Moon Patrol, and I have my joystick ready to go. The back side of this television is connected with that switch box on, let me show you that. It's on the VHF low, well, VHF actually connection. So there's the VHF or the UHF. Well, VHF because I want the lower station number, which would be, I think it's going to be 3 or 4 that's set up on the computer. We'll figure that out. And I will adjust the camera, but here are the channel selectors. So VHF low is channels 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as you can see, and so on. And VHF high gives you 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So I'll have the switch selector on VHF low. And I'm going to adjust the camera so I don't have to tilt this. So then I'll turn it on for us to see what will happen. All right, I think we're ready to go here. I repositioned the camera, as you can tell. The lighting in the room is dimmer, so hopefully the image comes through clearer. And the television screen or display area has a glare to it, which is probably reflecting the camera, which is fine, because I'm hoping that once the television is on and the image comes through, you won't see that glare anymore. I also have this thing propped up a little bit, as you can see down below. I'm utilizing that stand that's built into the system. It does its job nicely there. So what I'm going to do now is power on the system. It's set on tape. And I'm going to toggle it over to television. And hopefully an image will come up there. There we go. And of course, when I turn on the Atari 800XL, we shouldn't see anything yet because I need to tune into the station or channel. Channel 3, I believe, is what it's set up on the Atari 800XL. So I will have to adjust that shortly. But let's turn on the Atari 800XL first. All right, now I'm going to adjust the channel so we get to channel 3. And hopefully an image will appear. There it is. Moon Patrol. Check that out. And it should be black and white because this television is a black and white. And we'll put the volume up a little bit here. Let's not go too high up with that. Let's start a game and see how this looks while it's got some motion to it. All right. Could you imagine playing this as a kid back in the 80s? How many batteries you'd be going through if you didn't have a power plug? Well, I'm not going to go through this whole game, but it looks really good though. So that is Moon Patrol on this 1986 Realistic Portavision 4.5-inch black and white television. That is pretty cool. Glad this thing all works because I was worried that this might not work only because it was in a box, which I didn't mention is how long it's been in a box. It was in the box for about 4 months. Again, another one of my items I purchased that I didn't get a chance to open up quickly. But I only spent $45 on this, which isn't too bad. Now, this television actually was being sold for, in the catalog, from the 1987 catalog, you can see here, for $220. And that would be like around $620 in today's dollar. So that's pretty expensive. I just wanted to see if this would work, and I'm glad I picked it up. Another Radio Shack or Realistic brand. And I do like it. Back in the day, I guess I could probably admit that I didn't really like Radio Shack so much. I thought that was a inferior brand. I was more into the Panasonic and other Japanese models, but today, I love these. These are pretty cool, very nostalgic, and a lot of memories to go with it as well, even though I didn't own one of these. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. Let me know if this sparked any memories and what you think about it. Appreciate your time. And remember, keep your gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.